Dr. Tae-Sung Park walked through the sliding doors of the Galactic Wildlife Preservation Station and knew immediately that something was wrong. The normal quiet hum of the medical wing had been replaced by shouting. Alien voices echoed down the white corridors. People were running. Tae-Sung was the only human veterinarian on the station. He had been working here for 3 years now, ever since Earth had been accepted into the galactic community. Most days were calm. He treated sick animals from a dozen different worlds. He helped with research. He filed reports. Today was not going to be one of those calm days. A young technician rushed past him, nearly knocking him over. Tae-Sung grabbed the wall to steady himself. "What's happening?" He called out. The technician didn't stop. "Emergency transfer. Big one. Dangerous." Tae-Sung hurried toward the main containment area. The corridor opened into a large observation deck. The room was packed with station personnel. Everyone was staring through the massive reinforced windows that looked down into the holding cells below. Tae-Sung pushed through the crowd until he could see. His breath caught in his throat. The creature in the cell below was massive. It stood 12 feet tall, maybe more. Its body was covered in thick armored plates that looked like they could stop a bullet. 6 powerful limbs ended in claws as long as kitchen knives. The creature's head was all teeth and anger, with eyes that glowed a deep amber color. "That's a raw phalanx," someone whispered beside him. "An apex beast." Tae-Sung had heard of them. Apex beasts were legendary across the galaxy. Predators from a death world. Creatures that could tear through starship hulls. Animals that entire planets feared. The creature below paced back and forth in the cell. Its movements were jerky and aggressive. Every few seconds, it would slam against the walls. The entire observation deck shook with each impact. "Attention all personnel." A voice crackled over the intercom. It was Dr. Velmer, the chief veterinarian. He was a Krillian, a species known for their rigid logic and strict protocols. "The council will meet in 1 hour to discuss Subject 47 Omega. All department heads must attend." Tae-Sung watched the creature for a few more minutes. Something about it bothered him. The aggression was obvious, yes. The danger was real. But there was something else. Something in the way it moved. He made his way to the council chamber. The room was circular, with seats arranged in tiers around a central platform. Dr. Velmer stood at the center. His gray skin looked even paler than usual under the harsh lights. Beside him stood Dr. Nixara, a Centauri specialist. Her multiple eyes blinked in sequence as she reviewed data on her tablet. "The situation is clear," Dr. Velmer began once everyone was seated. "Subject 47 Omega is a Category 5 threat. It destroyed 3 settlements on Rythe 7. 17 colonists were injured. Property damage exceeds 2 million credits." Images appeared on the screens around the room. Destroyed buildings. Overturned vehicles. Scared families huddling in shelters. "The creature was captured after a 3-day hunt," Dr. Nixara continued. Her voice was cold and clinical. "It has refused all food since arrival. It attacks any personnel who approach. Initial scans show extreme stress levels and elevated aggression hormones." Dr. Velmer looked around the room. "The council has reached a decision. Subject 47 Omega will be humanely euthanized in 72 hours. This is the only safe course of action." Tae-Sung raised his hand. "May I ask a question?" Dr. Velmer's expression didn't change. "Dr. Park, yes? Have we determined why the creature attacked the settlements?" "It's an apex beast," Dr. Nixara said, as if that explained everything. "Aggression is their nature. But Rythe 7 isn't their native world," Tae-Sung pressed. "Raw phalanx come from high-gravity planets with dense atmospheres. Rythe 7 is a garden world. The environment doesn't match. Your point?" Dr. Velmer asked. My point is that something doesn't add up. An animal doesn't just randomly attack for no reason, especially not on a world where it doesn't belong. Dr. Nixara tapped her tablet. The colonists reported that the creature appeared 3 months ago. It lived in the forest at first. Then it began approaching the settlements. The attacks escalated from there. Tae-Sung thought about this. Can I see the footage of the attacks? Dr. Velmer hesitated, then nodded. The screens changed. Security camera footage played. Tae-Sung watched carefully. The creature crashed through a fence. It knocked over a storage unit. Colonists ran screaming. The Vrothanics roared and charged forward. But then, Tae-Sung noticed something. The creature wasn't chasing the colonists. It was running in a straight line, away from something behind it. When colonists got in its way, it knocked them aside, but it didn't stop to attack. It just kept running. In the second clip, the pattern repeated. The creature burst through a wall. More destruction. More fear. But again, it was fleeing, not hunting. Play that last one again, Tae-Sung said. The footage replayed. This time, Tae-Sung saw what he was looking for. In the background, just before the creature appeared, there were lights. Bright spotlights sweeping through the forest. And sounds. Loud mechanical sounds. Someone was chasing it, Tae-Sung said quietly. Irrelevant, Dr. Velmer stated. The creature is dangerous. The decision stands. But we don't even know the full story, Tae-Sung argued. Give me time to examine it. Let me do a proper evaluation. No one enters that containment cell, Dr. Nixara said sharply. The creature has already injured 2 handlers during transport. It's too aggressive. Tae-Sung looked at the screens. The live feed showed the creature still pacing in its cell. But now he saw other things too. He saw how the creature flinched when the lights brightened. He saw how it kept its back to the corner, never exposing itself. He saw defensive postures, not offensive ones, and he saw the scars. They were everywhere on the creature's body. Some were old, faded lines across its armor plates. Others were fresh, still healing. The pattern was wrong. Natural scars from fights or accidents were random. These scars were regular, systematic. They formed lines and patterns. Someone had hurt this creature. Many times. Over a long period. I request 48 hours, Tae-Sung said. Let me study the creature. Let me look at its medical history. If I can't find anything that changes the situation, I'll accept the council's decision. Dr. Velmer and Dr. Nixara exchanged looks. Finally, Velmer nodded. 48 hours. But you do not enter the containment area. You observe only. Understood? Understood. Tae-Sung agreed. The meeting ended. As people filed out, Tae-Sung stayed behind, staring at the screens. The creature below moved in its endless pattern. Pace, turn, slam against the wall. Pace, turn, slam. Over and over, but Tae-Sung didn't see a monster anymore. He saw something else. Something he recognized from his years working with traumatized animals back on Earth. He saw fear. The creature wasn't aggressive. It was terrified. And in 72 hours, unless Tae-Sung could prove it, the station would kill a victim while calling it a threat. He pulled out his communicator and called the one person on the station he trusted completely. Ji-woo? It's Tae-Sung. I need your help. How good are you at digging through files? Ji-woo Kang's voice came back curious and alert. How deep do we need to go? Tae-Sung looked at the creature one more time. At the scars. At the fear. At the condemned beast that no one else could see. All the way to the bottom, he said. We've got 48 hours to save a life. Ji-woo Kang arrived at Tae-Sung's office within 10 minutes. She was young, barely 25, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. She specialized in animal psychology, which made her one of the few people on the station who understood what Tae-sung was trying to do. "Show me what you've got," she said. Pulling up a chair, Tae-sung spread out the files on his desk. Medical scans, behavioral reports, transport logs, everything the station had collected on Subject 47 Omega since its arrival 6 hours ago. "Look at this." Tae-sung pointed to a graph on his screen. "These are the creature's stress hormone levels. See how they spike?" Ji-woo leaned closer. "That's expected, right? It's in a new environment. It's scared. Yes, but look when the spikes happen." Tae-sung scrolled through the timeline. Every spike corresponds to when a Krillian or Centauri staff member approaches the cell. When humans or other species go near, the stress increases, but not nearly as much. Ji-woo's eyes widened. "It's more afraid of specific species." "Exactly." Tae-sung pulled up another file. "And that made me wonder about its history. Where did this creature come from?" "The report says it was found wild on Rythe 7. Ji-woo read from the official document. "Right, but that doesn't make sense. Volcanics need high gravity and dense atmospheres. Rythe 7 is the opposite." So I started looking deeper. Tae-sung opened a new file. "This is the planetary customs record. 3 years ago, a cargo ship made a delivery to Rythe 7. The manifest listed scientific equipment and research animals." "Research animals?" Ji-woo frowned. "From where?" "That's where it gets interesting. The shipment originated from a private facility in the Krillian sector, a company called Veltec Entertainment." Ji-woo started typing on her own tablet. "Veltec Entertainment. Let me search that." Her fingers flew across the screen. Minutes passed. Then her face went pale. "Oh no, what did you find?" "Veltec was shut down 2 years ago. There was a scandal. They were running illegal fighting rings. They took dangerous animals from across the galaxy and made them fight for entertainment." Ji-woo looked up at Tae-sung. The company was owned by Krillian investors. Tae-sung felt his stomach turn. He looked at the live feed of the creature in its cell. The scars suddenly made perfect sense. They tortured it. They made it fight. And when the company got shut down, they shipped the animals off-world to hide the evidence. Ji-woo finished. This creature didn't attack those settlements because it was hunting. It escaped from wherever they were keeping it on Rythe 7. Tae-sung stood up and began pacing. "We need to prove this. We need documentation. The files from Veltec would be sealed by the investigation committee," Ji-woo said. "We can't access them. But the creature's DNA is in our system. Can you cross-reference it with any records of captive Volcanics?" Ji-woo's fingers danced across her tablet again. She pulled data from a dozen different databases. The station systems, galactic wildlife registries, import and export logs. After 20 minutes, she found something. Here, a Volcanics matching this genetic profile was registered to Veltec 5 years ago. It was listed as deceased 3 years ago, right before the company closed. "They faked its death," Tae-sung said, "then shipped it to Rythe 7 to get rid of it. This creature spent years being tortured," Ji-woo said softly. "And now they want to kill it because it's traumatized." Tae-sung grabbed the files. "We're taking this to the council. Right now." They found Dr. Velmer in his office reviewing reports. He looked up with annoyance when Tae-sung burst in without knocking Dr. Park. "This is highly irregular." "The creature was abused," Tae-sung said without preamble. He placed the data tablet on Velmer's desk. It spent years in an illegal fighting ring. The scars, the aggression, the fear, it's all trauma response. Dr. Velmer picked up the tablet and scanned through the information. His expression didn't change. "This is concerning, but it doesn't change the fundamental problem. The creature is dangerous. It's dangerous because someone made it that way, Taesung argued. This isn't natural behavior. It's learned. Dr. Nixara entered the office, drawn by the raised voices. She read through the data quickly. Assuming this is all accurate, it's tragic. But Dr. Velmer is correct. The cause of the creature's condition doesn't change what it has become. It has attacked people. It refuses to eat. It cannot be safely handled, because everyone who approaches it reminds it of its abusers, Jiwoo interjected. The Krillians who tortured it. The Centurists who probably bought tickets to watch. It's not attacking randomly. It's defending itself. You're anthropomorphizing, Dr. Nixara said coldly, attributing complex emotional reasoning to an animal. I'm recognizing trauma, Taesung shot back. Something every veterinarian should be trained to do. Dr. Velmer set down the tablet. Dr. Park, even if everything you say is true, we don't have the resources or expertise to rehabilitate a traumatized apex beast. The creature requires specialized care that we cannot provide. Then give me time to provide it, Taesung said. 24 hours. Let me work with the creature. If I can't show improvement, if I can't prove it's capable of rehabilitation, then I'll step aside. Absolutely not, Dr. Nixara said immediately. It's too dangerous. You could be killed. That's my risk to take. Dr. Velmer studied Taesung for a long moment. Why are you doing this? Why does this creature matter so much to you? Taesung thought about the answer. He could talk about his training, about the ethics of veterinary medicine, about the responsibility to do no harm. But the real answer was simpler, because everyone else has already given up on it, he said quietly. Everyone looks at that creature and sees a monster. I look at it and see an animal that's been hurt so badly it doesn't know how to trust anymore. And if we kill it now, we're just finishing what those abusers started. The office was silent. Dr. Velmer and Dr. Nixara exchanged a long look. Finally, Velmer spoke. 24 hours. But there are conditions. You will wear protective gear. The containment field remains active. Security will monitor you at all times. At the first sign of genuine danger, we extract you immediately. Agreed, Taesung said. And Dr. Park, Dr. Velmer added, his voice heavy. If this goes wrong, if you're injured or killed, that creature will be euthanized within the hour. Do you understand? Taesung understood perfectly. He wasn't just risking his own life. He was betting the creature's life on his ability to help it. I understand, he said. Ji-woo grabbed his arm as they left the office. Are you sure about this? That creature is terrified and dangerous. It doesn't know you're trying to help. I know, Taesung said. But I've worked with traumatized animals before. Back on Earth, I ran a rehabilitation program for fighting dogs. Dogs that had been beaten and starved and forced to attack each other. Everyone said they couldn't be saved. But they were wrong. Fighting dogs aren't 12-foot-tall armored predators with claws that can tear through steel. Taesung smiled grimly. No, but the principle is the same. Fear is fear. Pain is pain. And trust can be rebuilt, one small step at a time. He spent the next 3 hours preparing. He studied every piece of data they had on raw Thanix biology. He learned about their social structures, their communication methods, their stress responses. He gathered medical supplies and food. He prepared his approach. When the time came, Taesung stood at the entrance to the containment cell. Through the energy barrier, he could see the creature pacing. It hadn't stopped moving since it arrived. Constant motion, constant vigilance, constant fear. Ji-woo stood in the observation gallery above with half the station's personnel. Everyone wanted to see what would happen. Everyone expected failure. Ready? The security officer asked, his hand on the control panel. Taesung took a deep breath. Ready. The barrier dropped. Taesung stepped inside. The creature spun toward him instantly. Its eyes blazed. Its claws extended. A deep, rumbling growl filled the cell. Taesung didn't run. He didn't advance. He simply sat down on the floor, 6 feet inside the entrance, and began unpacking his medical supplies. Above, in the observation gallery, someone whispered, "What is he doing?" Ji-woo smiled slightly. "His job." The creature stared at Taesung. Its massive body was tense, ready to attack. Its amber eyes tracked every movement he made. The growl continued, low and threatening. Taesung ignored it. He pulled out bandages from his medical kit and began wrapping his own arm. Slowly, deliberately, he wound the white fabric around and around. He didn't look at the creature. He didn't speak to it. He just worked on his own fake injuries. Minutes passed. The creature didn't attack. It also didn't relax. It stood in the far corner, watching this strange behavior with confusion. Taesung finished bandaging his arm. He moved to his leg. Same slow movements. Same careful attention to his task. He started humming softly, a gentle melody his mother used to sing. The creature's growl faded. Not because it felt safe, just because it was confused. This human wasn't acting like the others. The others had come with weapons and loud voices. They had tried to force the creature into submission. This one just sat there, wrapping himself in bandages. An hour passed. Then too, Taesung worked through his entire medical kit, treating imaginary wounds. Sometimes he would talk, but not to the creature. He talked to himself. "This one needs cleaning first," he said softly, dabbing at his hand with antiseptic. "Don't want infection. Infection makes everything worse." The creature tilted its head slightly. It recognized the smell of medicine. That smell meant pain usually. But this human was putting it on himself. By the 3rd hour, Taesung had run out of fake wounds to treat. He sat quietly, occasionally glancing around the cell, but never directly at the creature. He noticed things. The way the creature favored its left rear limb. The way it flinched when the overhead lights buzzed. The way it kept its back to the wall at all times. These were all signs. Signs of pain. Signs of trauma. Signs of an animal that had learned the world was full of threats. Taesung slowly reached into his pack and pulled out food. Not creature food. His own lunch. He unwrapped a sandwich and took a bite. The creature's nostrils flared. It could smell the food. Taesung ate slowly. He made sure the creature could see that eating was safe. Normal, not a trap. Then he noticed it again. The way the creature's left rear limb trembled when it put weight on it. There was something wrong there. Taesung looked closer without staring. He could see it now. An old wound still infected. The flesh around it was swollen and dark. That had to hurt. Constant pain. Every time the creature moved. Taesung pulled out antibiotic ointment and pain medication. He prepared the dose carefully. Then he did something that made everyone in the observation gallery gasp. He pushed the medicine across the floor, halfway between himself and the creature, and backed away to his original position. The creature looked at the medicine, then at Taesung, then back at the medicine. It didn't move. Taesung settled back against the wall. He closed his eyes, pretending to rest. He slowed his breathing, made himself look vulnerable and non-threatening. The creature watched him. Minutes crawled by. 10, 20, 30. In the observation gallery, Dr. Nixara shook her head. "This is pointless. The creature won't take it." But Ji-woo kept watching. She had faith in Taesung, even when it seemed impossible. At the 40-minute mark, the creature moved. Just a small shift. One step forward. Then it froze, waiting to see if the human would react. Taesung didn't move. His eyes remained closed. His breathing stayed steady. Another step. The creature's claws clicked softly on the floor. It was moving toward the medicine, but also toward the human. Every instinct screamed danger, but the pain in its legs screamed louder. The creature reached the medicine. One claw extended, ready to grab it and retreat. But then, it stopped. It looked at the human again. This close, it could see details. Scars on the human's hands. Old injuries. This human had been hurt too. The creature took the medicine. It leant back to its corner. It sniffed the medication carefully, then consumed it. Taesung's eyes opened slightly. He saw what happened. A tiny smile crossed his face. Then he closed his eyes again and waited. The next 6 hours followed the same pattern. Taesung would do something simple and predictable. The creature would watch. Slowly, the distance between them decreased. Not because the creature was less afraid, but because it was learning that this particular human didn't hurt it. At hour 12, Taesung pulled out food specifically prepared for Vrolthax. Meat, prepared the way their species preferred it. He placed it on a tray and slid it across the floor. Just like the medicine. This time, the creature only waited 10 minutes before approaching. It ate quickly, defensively, ready to run at any moment. But it ate. The first food it had accepted since capture. The observation gallery erupted in whispered conversations. Dr. Velmer took notes. Dr. Nixaro recalibrated her theories. Jiwoo grinned. By hour 15, Taesung noticed patterns in the creature's vocalizations. The deep rumble that meant fear was different from the rumble that meant aggression. The click of claws on the floor happened in specific rhythms depending on the creature's emotional state. Every species had a language. You just had to learn how to listen. He started responding to the creature's sounds with his own. Not mimicry. That would be insulting. But acknowledgement. When the creature made its fear sound, Taesung would hum his calming melody. When it made the pain sound, he would show it the medicine. Communication. Basic. Simple, but real. At hour 18, the creature did something unexpected. It laid down. Not to sleep. It was still too alert for that. But it stopped pacing. For the first time since arriving at the station, it rested. Taesung saw the infected wound more clearly now. It was bad. Without treatment, it would get worse. He prepared a fresh dose of medicine. But this time, he didn't just slide it across the floor. He stood up slowly. The creature's head snapped toward him, eyes wide. Taesung froze. He held up the medicine where the creature could see it. Then, moving like he was underwater, he took one step forward. The creature's muscles tensed. But it didn't run. It didn't attack. Taesung took another step. Then another. He was halfway across the cell now. The creature could kill him easily from this distance. Everyone in the observation gallery held their breath. Easy, Taesung said softly. I know it hurts. Let me help. The creature understood the tone, if not the words. It had heard kind voices before, long ago, before the fighting rings. Before the pain. Taesung knelt down. He was 10 feet away now. He placed the medicine on the ground, then backed up 3 steps. The creature limped forward. It took the medicine, but this time, it didn't retreat all the way to the corner. It stayed in the middle of the cell, watching Taesung with something that wasn't quite trust, but wasn't quite fear either. Curiosity. By hour 22, Taesung had managed to treat 3 different wounds. He never touched the creature directly, but he got close enough to apply ointment to injuries the creature couldn't reach itself. Each time, the creature allowed it. Each time, the distance between them shrank. At hour 24, the moment that changed everything happened. Taesung was sitting against the wall, exhausted. His back ached. His eyes burned from lack of sleep. He was talking softly, more to keep himself awake than anything else. You know, I had a dog once, he said. His name was Barum. That means wind in Korean. He was a rescue from a fighting ring. When I first met him, he was just like you. Scared, angry, covered in scars. The creature was listening. Tae-seung could tell by the way its ears angled toward him. Everyone said he was too damaged, too aggressive. They wanted to put him down. But I didn't give up. Took almost a year, but eventually he learned to trust again. He became the gentlest dog I ever knew. Tae-seung pulled out a piece of dried meat meant for the creature. He held it up. Want to try something? He tossed the meat gently. Not all the way to the creature, just a few feet in front of it. The creature looked at the meat, then at Tae-seung. Then it did something incredible. It moved forward, took the meat, and sat down. Only 6 feet separated them now. Tae-seung's heart raced, but he kept his voice calm. Good, that's good. He pulled out another piece. This time, he held it out in his hand. The creature looked at his hand for a long time. Hands had hurt it before. Hands meant pain. But this hand had also brought medicine. This hand had helped. The creature leaned forward. Its massive head moved closer to Tae-seung. Close enough that he could feel its breath. Close enough that one bite could end him. It took the meat gently from his palm. In the observation gallery, someone started crying. Ji-woo pressed her hand against the glass. She had never doubted Tae-seung, but seeing it happen still took her breath away. Tae-seung didn't move. The creature chewed the meat slowly. Then it did something that no one expected. It laid its head down on the floor, just a few feet from where Tae-seung sat. It wasn't submission. It wasn't trust. Not yet. But it was acceptance. The creature had decided that this human, at least, wasn't a threat. Tae-seung reached out slowly and placed his hand near the creature's head. Not touching, just near. You're safe now, he whispered. I promise. You're safe. The 24 hours ended with Tae-seung and the creature resting in the same cell. The observation gallery was packed with witnesses. Everyone had seen the impossible. A condemned apex beast, declared too dangerous to live, was now accepting food from a human's hand. And a human veterinarian, armed with nothing but patience and understanding, had done what the entire galactic medical. The council chamber was filled to capacity. Word of what happened in the containment cell had spread through the station like wildfire. Now, everyone wanted to see what would happen next. Tae-seung stood at the center of the room. He had been awake for over 30 hours. His eyes were red. His clothes were rumpled. But his voice was steady. The creature has shown remarkable progress, he said. It's eating. It's accepting medical treatment. It's demonstrating trust behaviors. I believe rehabilitation is possible. Dr. Velmer studied the data on his tablet. Your success is noted, Dr. Park. What you accomplished was impressive. However, one human's brief success does not constitute a comprehensive rehabilitation protocol. I'm not asking for it to be released, Tae-seung said. I'm asking for time. Let me continue working with it. Let me prove that recovery is possible. Dr. Nixara spoke up. The station lacks the resources for long-term rehabilitation of an apex beast. Such treatment would require years of specialized care, dedicated facilities, round-the-clock monitoring. We simply cannot provide this. Then transfer it to a facility that can, Tae-seung argued. We've already arranged a transfer, Dr. Velmer said. The creature will be moved to a specialized containment facility on Vara 9. They handle dangerous specimens and have the security protocols necessary. Something in his tone made Tae-seung suspicious. What kind of facility? Dr. Nixara hesitated. It's a maximum security preservation world for specimens that cannot be safely rehabilitated or released. You mean a prison? Tae-seung said flatly. You're sending it to die in isolation. We're ensuring public safety while preserving the creature's life, Dr. Velmer corrected. It's the best compromise available. It's a slow death sentence, Taesung shot back. That creature has already spent years in captivity being tortured. Now you want to lock it away forever? What would you suggest? Dr. Nixara asked. We cannot keep it here. We cannot release it. What other option exists? Taesung took a deep breath. This was the moment he had been preparing for. Send it to Earth. The chamber erupted in noise. Council members talked over each other. Several people laughed outright. Dr. Velmer held up a hand for silence. Earth is not equipped for this. Your planet has only been part of the galactic community for a few years. You lack the infrastructure, the experience, the technology. We lack your technology, Taesung agreed. But we have something else. We understand trauma. Human history is full of rehabilitation programs for damaged animals. We've been doing this work for centuries. With Earth animals, Dr. Nixara pointed out. Not with alien predators. The principles are the same, Taesung insisted. I have a colleague on Earth. Her name is Diyun Lim. She runs a rehabilitation facility in the Korean mountains. She's worked with some of the most dangerous and traumatized animals on our planet. She saved creatures that everyone else gave up on. Ji Woo stepped forward from the gallery. May I speak? Dr. Velmer nodded. I've been researching Earth's animal rehabilitation programs, Ji Woo said. Their success rates are extraordinary. 90% of animals that enter these programs eventually recover enough to live peaceful lives. Compare that to our galactic average of 40%. That's because we deal with more dangerous species, Dr. Nixara argued. Or because you give up too quickly, Taesung said. You look at a violent animal and see a permanent threat. We look at a violent animal and ask what made it that way. And more importantly, we ask how we can heal it. Dr. Velmer leaned back in his chair. This is highly irregular. Earth has been requesting permission to host galactic wildlife for years. We've always denied these requests due to concerns about your planet's emotional approach to animal care. You mean our compassion, Taesung said. I mean your tendency to anthropomorphize, Dr. Velmer replied. To attribute human emotions and motivations to creatures that don't share our psychology. And yet, that tendency just saved a creature you had condemned to death, Taesung pointed out. Maybe our approach works because we recognize that pain is universal. Fear is universal. The need for safety and kindness exists in every living thing. A new voice spoke up from the gallery. I support Dr. Park's proposal. Everyone turned. It was Hyun-ki Cho, the station's chief maintenance engineer. He was a quiet man who rarely spoke in meetings. His opinion carried weight precisely because he spoke so seldom. I've been watching the observation feeds, Hyun-ki continued. What Dr. Park did was remarkable. But more than that, it was logical. He identified the problem, trauma. He applied an appropriate solution, patience and trust building. He achieved results that our traditional methods could not. If Earth has entire facilities dedicated to this approach, perhaps we should give them a chance. Other voices joined in. The debate grew heated. Some council members supported the Earth transfer. Others opposed it vehemently. Arguments about safety, about protocol, about precedent filled the chamber. Finally, Dr. Velmer called for silence. We will vote. But first, Dr. Park, you must understand the conditions. If the creature is transferred to Earth, it will be under constant monitoring. Monthly evaluations. Complete transparency. And if there is any indication that the rehabilitation is failing, if there is any threat to public safety, the termination order will be reinstated immediately. I accept those terms, Taesung said without hesitation. Furthermore, Dr. Nixara added, If this experiment fails, it will set back Earth's application to host galactic wildlife indefinitely. You would be risking your planet's reputation and future opportunities. Tae-Soon met her eyes. I understand. But I also understand that if we kill this creature now, we're proving that the galaxy has no room for mercy. That we value protocol over compassion. That we're willing to destroy a victim because helping it is inconvenient. That's an unfair characterization, Dr. Velmer said. Is it? Tae-Soon asked. Because from where I stand, that's exactly what's happening. This creature was tortured for years. It escaped. It defended itself. And now, instead of helping it heal, we're debating the easiest way to make it disappear. The chamber fell silent. Tae-Sung's words hung in the air. Challenging everyone present, Dr. Velmer looked around the room. Very well. We vote now. All in favor of transferring Subject 47 Omega to Earth for rehabilitation? Hands went up across the chamber. Tae-Soon counted quickly. It was close. Too close. All opposed? More hands. Tae-Sung's heart sank. It looked even. Dr. Velmer counted carefully. His expression remained neutral. The motion passes. By a margin of 2 votes, the Council approves transfer to Earth. Tae-Soon felt his knees go weak. Ji-Woo grabbed his arm to steady him. Around them, the chamber erupted in conversation. But Dr. Velmer wasn't finished. Dr. Park, you will accompany the creature to Earth. You will be responsible for its transport and initial placement. You will also be required to submit weekly reports for the first 6 months, then monthly reports after that. Is this acceptable? Yes, Tae-Soon said. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, Dr. Velmer said quietly. You've just taken responsibility for one of the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy. If you succeed, you'll prove that humanity's approach to animal care has merit. If you fail, that creature will die, and Earth's reputation will be damaged for generations. I won't fail, Tae-Soon said. Dr. Nixara approached him as the meeting ended. I hope you're right, Dr. Park. I genuinely do. But I've seen many well-intentioned rehabilitation attempts fail. Trauma runs deep. Sometimes the damage is too severe to heal. Then I'll be the first to prove it can be done. Tae-Soon replied. Over the next 2 weeks, Tae-Soon prepared for the transfer. He worked with the creature every day, building on the trust they had established. He taught it basic commands. He continued treating its wounds. He helped it understand that not all confinement was torture, that some boundaries existed for safety rather than cruelty. The creature, which still had no name, responded well. It began to recognize Tae-Sung's voice. It learned to differentiate between threatening situations and safe ones. It even started to relax around other humans, though it still showed fear responses to Krillians and Centaurus. Ji-Woo helped coordinate with Da-Yoon on Earth. The facility in Korea was prepared. A special enclosure was built, designed to give the creature space and freedom while maintaining safety protocols. The day of departure arrived. The creature was loaded into a specialized transport ship. Tae-Soon stayed with it the entire journey, maintaining its routine, keeping it calm. As the ship left the station, Tae-Soon looked back at the facility. He thought about Dr. Velmer's warning, about the weight of responsibility he now carried, about the possibility of failure, but he also thought about the creature beside him, about how it learned to trust again, about how something so damaged had proven capable of healing. And he thought about what this moment meant, not just for this one creature, but for every animal that the galaxy had given up on, every victim that had been labeled a monster. We're going home, he said softly to the creature. And I promise you, no one will ever hurt you again. The creature made a low rumbling sound. Not fear, not aggression. Something different. Something that might, in time, become contentment. The ship jumped to faster-than-light travel. carrying a human veterinarian and a condemned beast toward a planet that believed in second chances. 6 months later, the Korean mountains were covered in snow. The rehabilitation facility sat nestled in a valley, surrounded by forest and protected by natural barriers. It was quiet here, peaceful, far from the chaos of cities and the memories of fighting rings. Dayun Lim stood at the observation point, watching the creature move through its enclosure. She was a small woman with gray streaks in her hair and eyes that had seen 1,000 broken animals find their way back to peace. Next to her, Tae-sung reviewed the latest medical reports. His leg is completely healed, Dayun said. She refused to call the creature it or Subject 47 Omega. 3 months ago, she had named him Wan. It meant bright or shining, a name for new beginnings. The infection cleared up faster than I expected, Tae-sung agreed. He watched Wan navigate the snowy terrain. The creature's movements were fluid now, confident. Nothing like the limping, pained steps from 6 months ago. He's gaining weight too, Daeyoon noted. Another 200 pounds since arrival. His muscle mass is returning to healthy levels. Tae-sung smiled. It was true. Hwan looked like a different creature. The scars were still there. They would always be there. But new growth had covered some of them. Healthy tissue replacing damaged. The visible signs of healing. But more importantly, the invisible signs were there too. Hwan no longer paced endlessly. He no longer flinched at every sound. He had learned to sleep deeply, something traumatized animals rarely did. He had learned to play. That last one still amazed Tae-sung. Last week, Hwan had spent an entire afternoon tossing a large ball around his enclosure. Just playing. Like a creature that felt safe enough to be silly. The council evaluation team arrives today, Daeyoon reminded him. Are you nervous? Terrified, Tae-sung admitted. Everything depends on this assessment. Dr. Velmer and Dr. Nixara arrived that afternoon, along with several other council members. They brought scanning equipment and monitoring devices. They brought skepticism. Tae-sung met them at the facility entrance. Welcome to Earth. Dr. Velmer looked around at the mountains, the trees, the simple buildings. This is quite different from our facilities. That's the point, Daeyoon said, joining them. Sterile environments remind traumatized animals of captivity. We design our spaces to feel natural while maintaining safety. They toured the facility. Daeyoon explained their approach. Individual care plans. Enrichment activities. Gradual exposure therapy. Everything designed around the animal's needs rather than convenience. Where is the creature kept? Dr. Nixara asked. Hwan has access to 40 acres of forest, Daeyoon said. He can roam freely within the boundaries. We monitor him, but we don't confine him unless necessary. Dr. Velmer stopped walking. You let an apex beast roam free? Within a secured perimeter, yes, Tae-sung explained. The entire area is enclosed. But Hwan needs space. Confinement triggers his trauma responses. This seems extremely dangerous, Dr. Nixara said. Come see for yourself, Daeyoon offered. They walked to the main observation area. Through the reinforced windows, they could see into the forest. At first, there was nothing. Just trees and snow. Then Hwan emerged from the tree line. He moved with purpose, but not aggression. He was simply exploring his territory, following a path he had created through repeated use. Dr. Velmer studied the creature through his scanner. Stress hormones are minimal. Aggression markers are almost non-existent. This is remarkable. Watch this, Daeyoon said. She pressed a button on the intercom. Hwan, come. The creature's head lifted. His ears swiveled toward the sound. Then, to everyone's amazement, he turned and walked toward the observation building. He responds to commands? Dr. Nixara asked, incredulous. 23 different commands, Taisung said with pride. Come, stay, eat, rest, and various medical commands. He's intelligent. Once we removed the fear, he was capable of learning. Juan reached the building. He sat down in front of the window, looking in at them. Up close, they could see how much he had changed. His eyes were clear. His posture was relaxed. He looked healthy. Dayun opened a small food slot and passed through some meat. Juan took it gently, ate, then waited. He's waiting for permission to leave, Taisung explained. That's part of his structure. He knows that certain behaviors are rewarded. He knows the routine. Release, Dayun said. Juan turned and trotted back into the forest. Dr. Velmer was silent for a long moment. I did not think this was possible. Neither did we at first, Dayun admitted. The first month was difficult. Juan had night terrors. He would panic at random triggers. But we worked through it, one day at a time. Over the next 3 hours, the evaluation team ran every test they had. They measured Juan's responses to various stimuli. They assessed his behavior patterns. They reviewed 6 months of data. The results were undeniable. The creature that had been condemned as too dangerous to live was now showing behavior patterns consistent with healthy, stable animals. But the real test came unexpectedly. A young boy, maybe 7 years old, wandered into the observation area. He was the son of one of the facility workers, not supposed to be in this section. Before anyone could react, the boy pushed through a door and walked right into the forest enclosure. Taisung's heart stopped. Dayun ran for the emergency controls. Dr. Nixara reached for her communicator to call security. Juan appeared from the trees. He saw the child. The child saw him. For a moment, everything froze. Then Juan moved. Not toward the child. He positioned himself between the child and the observation building, where all the unfamiliar aliens were standing. He made a low rumbling sound. The child, too young to be afraid, reached out toward Juan. Don't move, Taisung whispered urgently. Everyone watched, barely breathing. Juan lowered his massive head. He sniffed the child gently. The child giggled and patted Juan's armored snout. Then Juan did something extraordinary. He carefully nudged the child with his head, guiding him back toward the door he had come through. Away from the strangers. Toward safety. Protective behavior. Gentle behavior. The behavior of a creature that understood the vulnerable needed defending. Dayun rushed out and scooped up the child. She carried him inside quickly. Juan watched until they were safe, then returned to the forest. The observation room was completely silent. Dr. Velmer stared at his scanner, checking the readings over and over. Dr. Nixara had her hand pressed to her mouth. Eyes wide. That child could have been killed, Dr. Velmer said finally. Instead, the creature protected him. Juan isn't violent, Taisung said quietly. He never was. He was scared and in pain. Now he's neither. Now he's just an animal trying to understand his new world. The evaluation team conferred in private for over an hour. When they emerged, Dr. Velmer's expression was unreadable. The council has reached a decision, he said formally, based on the evidence presented and observed. We find that the rehabilitation of Subject 47 Omega has been successful beyond any reasonable expectation. Taisung felt relief wash over him. Furthermore, Dr. Velmer continued, we are recommending that Earth be approved as an official galactic wildlife rehabilitation center. Your methods, while unconventional by our standards, have proven effective. Dr. Nixara stepped forward. I owe you an apology, Dr. Park, and you as well, Dr. Lim. I was wrong. I saw this creature as a lost cause. You saw it as a patient. Your approach saved a life that I would have ended. It's not just our approach, Dayun said. It's about recognizing that healing takes time, that every creature, no matter how damaged, deserves a chance. Over the next few weeks, word of Juan's recovery spread through the galactic community. Scientists came to study the rehabilitation methods. Other facilities requested training. The approach that Earth had used for centuries was suddenly being recognized as valuable. Taesung returned to the observation point one morning, 3 months after the evaluation. Juan was playing in the snow, rolling and jumping like a creature half his size. It was joyful to watch. Dayun joined him. We received 7 new transfer requests this morning, all traumatized animals that other facilities gave up on. Can we handle that many? Taesung asked. We're expanding. The council approved funding for 3 new facilities based on our model. 1 in Japan, 1 in Canada, 1 in New Zealand. Dayun smiled. We're going to help a lot of animals. Taesung watched Juan play. He thought about the journey, about a creature that was hours from death, now living a life of peace, about how a simple act of compassion had changed everything. You know what the ironic thing is? Taesung said. The galaxy has technology we can't even imagine. Faster than light travel, energy shields, medical miracles. But they couldn't heal one traumatized animal. Because healing isn't about technology, Dayun said. It's about understanding pain. And humans, for all our flaws, we understand pain. We've experienced enough of it. Dr. Velmer visited one more time, 6 months later. Juan had been on Earth for a full year. The Krillian veterinarian stood at the observation point, watching the creature rest peacefully in a sunny clearing. I have learned something from this experience, Velmer said to Taesung. Something important. What's that? For years, I looked at violent creatures and saw what they could do. The danger they represented. The threat they posed. Velmer gestured toward Juan. You taught me to look at violent creatures and see what had been done to them. To see the cause, not just the